How do you do that?
What can I say? These biceps move mountains.
I've been meaning to bring something up on that topic. I feel like you've been a little too focused on certain aspects of your workout, and maybe you're leaving some of the other aspects of exercise on the table where you could get some extra benefit by including some of those.
Yeah, like what?
Just a little more diversity in your exercise. I think we should talk about it.
I mean, I'm open to it, but I don't understand what else I would do different. If I want more cardio in my exercise, I'll just do more bicep curls.
I don't think it works that way. I'm Dr. Ben Quist.
And I'm fitness expert Jeremiah Kruger.
And today we're going to talk to you about how to get more diversity in your workouts. So, exercise diversity, and I think this is a great topic to talk about. I think many people don't think about when they're framing what their week's worth of exercise is going to look like or what their month's worth of exercise is going to look like. They maybe get some of the components that they need, but they don't get all of them. So I'm loving this topic.
So with that being said, I think from a general standpoint, the public viewing us as the fitness industry sees Arnold Schwarzenegger, the way he works out, as the only way to work out. That or treadmills. When you're missing so many different buckets and areas of fitness that you could start working in to benefit your body and your health.
So when we frame out the concept of exercise diversity, there are really 4 of those buckets that we want to talk to you about today as individuals that are into general fitness. And those 4 buckets are conditioning,
strength,
mobility,
and recovery.
All right, what do you want to start with?
Mobility.
All right. Why isn't it working? So our first bucket of fitness is mobility, and it is extremely important. You don't really care about your mobility until you lose it. And once you've lost it, it is just so hard to get it back. And I'm seeing people at younger and younger ages starting to have problems with mobility. And I mainly think that's due to the fact that there's so much sitting, there's so much screen time, and that people really, when they do their workouts here at the gym or in training studios or at boot camps, they're not really focused on that. They're much more focused on the other aspects of fitness. But I can't stress enough how important it is that mobility be included in that grouping when you're thinking about doing your fitness programming. So the first step with mobility is to know whether you're having a problem with it. So that's where all those assessment tests that we have in the short section of our YouTube channel come into play. See if those things are impacting your movement patterns so that you can fix them. And the beautiful part about it with mobility is you can really feather mobility techniques into all the other aspects of fitness. And making sure to put it into your program is extremely important.
So bucket number 2 is strength. And this could mean a whole lot of different things. From one point, it is the actual functional ability to move weights or move heavy objects safely and effectively. For example, it might be as you get older to lift your grandkid up. You've seen that commercial with that kettlebell where that guy trains with that kettlebell so that when Christmas time comes, he can lift up his grandkid to put the star on top of the tree. That's a really awesome video, and there's so much truth to that. If you train to do something like that, you can have the strength and the ability to do that. That's at one end of the spectrum. Another part might be it feels good to lift some really heavy stuff. So if you want to lift a heavy barbell up off the ground or a heavy dumbbell up off the ground, training for strength obviously impacts that. One more component that you might not necessarily see connected to it is larger muscles, having a lot of muscle mass. We now know so much more about muscle than we did before. Muscle is hugely impactful for your health. It doesn't just look good. Having muscle mass is so impactful for the way that we live our entire lifespan. So having more muscle, I cannot say this enough, having more muscle is very healthy for you. And that does very much relate to having more strength. Bucket number 3 is a classic. It's probably the main thing most people think of when they think of easy to do exercise. It is conditioning or cardio. We're going to use those synonymously here. Conditioning is basically your ability to do prolonged exercise. It could be muscle conditioning, meaning that you could do a higher rep count. You can work your lactate threshold a little longer. That means you basically can work through that burn longer. You might be able to do weight-based exercises for more reps as opposed to less reps. Heart and lung conditioning of this might be how long you can sustain a higher level heart rate. It's really important to have the ability to get a high heart rate and then come back down from it. That actually is a very big indicator of how healthy your heart, your cardiovascular system is. So doing conditioning-based exercises is very important for a long and healthy life. And one more thing before we move on, there's a lot of people online and really just in general downplaying the importance of conditioning or cardio as its own bucket of exercise. They think that doing just strength training is enough to be a healthy person. And while strength training does have a big role in being healthy, one of the most important things, one of the lowest barrier of entry ways for exercise is cardio. It's doing that zone 2 cardio. Zone 2 would be where you're going for a walk and you are still able to hold a conversation, but your heart rate is up. And maybe by the time you get back, you're a little bit sweaty. Take your dog for a walk, go outside, go for a walk around your house a few times. Basically, walking. It is the lowest barrier of entry type of exercise you can do, and it carries so much value. Do not neglect doing your cardio. Future you will thank you.
All right, I'm getting both of the forgotten stepchilds of fitness, mobility, and now I'm covering recovery. So recovery is another one that I think people don't put enough emphasis on. The body has to recover. And let me give you an example. I know many people that go to boot camp style workouts, and the thing that they like about them is they get to do these workouts every day. They're going there Monday through Saturday. From a fitness professional's viewpoint, how much I don't think that's a good idea. Because when you do these high, intense conditioning strength workouts and you don't give your body that break in between, it can really lead to the body wearing down, issues with your immune system, injury, all of that kind of stuff. So recovery is very, very important. And that's where coming up with the thought process of using these 4 different buckets as your recovery. Of course, with recovery, there are other factors, things like your sleep, your hydration levels, what you're feeding your body. All of those things are one of the buckets of fitness. We really need to have those things to basically take the other components and make them better. So don't just sweep recovery under the bed. Make sure you think about it when you're planning out what you're doing with your exercise. All right, let's bring this whole thing back together. I always like to think of it, we all know those people that are like marathon runners or something, and all they do is run. They run every day, they don't do any stretching, they don't do any mobility work, and they don't do any strength work. And they are really losing out because of it. And we also know those people that only do strength. That's all they do, they don't do anything else, and they are also missing out on substantial benefit because they don't include the other aspects that we're talking about. And one thing I want to make clear is every one of those different buckets has different benefits for you. We got to wrap this all back together and put it into a format people understand.
I realize as a viewer you might have the question, these are 4 very different buckets. How do I implement them in a week and have an effective week? We're going to answer that.
I'll start off with one and then we'll go back and forth and show you how you can kind of like skin the onion several different ways. Is that a term? Is it skin the onion?
It is now.
Okay, so you can skin the onion several different ways. So I'm a big believer that everybody should exercise every day. So that's where the 7 days a week, that's where that diversification becomes even more important because you're going to be doing it every day. So maybe on day 1, Monday, you do a hard strength training workout. Pure strength, muscle building, bam. Day 2, you throw in some mobility with kind of a lower level cardio workout for 45 to 60 minutes, hitting a different bucket. Day 3, maybe you do a workout where you're combining some strength with some HIIT intervals. So you're again hitting high level cardio and you're also getting some strength in there. Day 4, maybe you hit a yoga class. Yoga class has a little bit of the components of everything in it, where you're getting some great mobility work, you're getting some cardio, and you're getting some strength, depending on what form of yoga you're taking. The next day, you might do another just steady state cardio workout. So then, you're ready for a strength workout again. So you're moving back in, you hit another really solid strength workout. And so you get the idea of how you can feather this stuff all out. And one thing to note, if you do workouts where you're combining different buckets of exercise together, like HIIT intervals with strength training, or you're doing strength training at a really fast pace where it elevates your heart rate and you basically are in an elevated heart rate state through the whole thing getting a cardio benefit, you may not get as much of the benefit out of either of the buckets as if you had just concentrated on that bucket alone. So I think it's great to mix and match the techniques, but I also think it's really nice to have some days where you just focus and dial in on one of the techniques.
And here's another training split you might try for someone more like me if you want to build a little bit more muscle. On day 1, you might focus strength-wise anteriorly, the front side of your body. And with that, you might do mobility for the back side of your body, stretching out your hamstrings or your lats or just muscles on the back side of your body. Then on day 2, we head to posterior strength. So that's the back side of my body that I'm strengthening. And now I might do mobility or flexibility training for the front side of my body, stretching out my quads, my hip flexors, my abdominals, my chest and my shoulders, my biceps. Now on Wednesday, I'm going to take a lifting day off. I'm going to do some cardio and I'll continue my mobility. It's hard to do too much mobility. depending on the intensity that which you do. So I might do a little bit higher level cardio, higher intensity cardio, a hit day, and then I'd finish off that workout with some light, low level stretching. Then we take Thursday and Friday, it's the same as Monday and Tuesday, and then on Saturday I might have another higher level intensity day, and then Sunday, that is my very low level day in general, I might take my dog for a long walk.
So you can see, you can get all 7 days, and I really think you should. So moving in general, getting those 10,000 steps over a course of a day has massive benefit, not being a couch potato, but also the really focused 30 minutes to maybe 60 minutes a day where you maximize your own personal development by getting all of these 4 boxes ticked that we just talked about. Mobility, conditioning, strength, and recovery. Let's get it all done.
Change your life with these buckets.
Change your life. Do it. I dare you.
Thanks and have a good day.
Bye. So is he like saying like boom? Is he like thunder gods?
Nah. You gotta say boom!